Growing up, it was always plan A for me. There was never plan B. My goal was always to be the best in the world, and I wasn't rushing that process. For me, that's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to play in the NHL, and I wanted to be the best in the world. When I first came to Winnipeg, it was a little bit of a culture shock just because I've never been to Canada. But as I got used to the city and realized that there's all these lakes around us and all this outdoor activities, I started to realize that this is an outdoorsman's dream, and really settled in and realized that it is a lot of fun to play here. When I was drafted by Winnipeg, I didn't know how inclusive the fishing community was, and I think it took Dustin Bufflin to get me out on the ice to realize what ice fishing is all about. I grew up not ice fishing, I grew up playing pond hockey. So for me, the ice was hockey. And then Buff was around and would always tell me how awesome ice fishing is, especially here on Lake Winnipeg where you catch these giant walleyes. I just slowly grew to love it and respect how big a fish you can catch here. But he didn't realize how into fishing I was at the time, so it was more of hearing his stories, and then finally I had told him I want to go, and made me wake up really early, took me out to the lake, had a bunch of his buddies, and we caught big walleye on Lake Winnipeg. And from that moment on, I was hooked. It was always so much fun just to get out there and get away from the game and relax and continue doing some fishing. Well, when Buff left, he kind of left me in a void, because at that point I was just a passenger. I would just go along with him. He knew how the ice was, he knew how to navigate it all, and so I kind of had to figure things out for myself a little bit. So I got something with tracks so I would never get stuck, and then I started to try to pass that same knowledge down to other guys, and I feel like Winnipeg is very attractive for the guy, the outdoorsman, who already has a base of fishing. So a few guys would come in, like Sandberg would come in, Kyle Connor came, and those guys were into fishing as well. So then we kind of started to create a group that would always go fishing, and then from there, it kind of branches off. Guys hear about how much fun it is and want to try it. So if I had to put a number on it, probably 8 or 9 different jet players now that have tried it and definitely want to go again, and will go whenever I ask. I think the coolest part about this niche market that we have is it attracts those guys, and then those guys are essentially becoming something that the whole league doesn't have. There's not a group of guys that are willing to go fishing whenever you get the chance, and and even having access to it all the time. There's some great places to go fishing, but to find a group of guys that want to fish year round, that's rare, and we have that here. And the coolest part is I make jokes all the time that I essentially go and guide. Whenever I'm going ice fishing, I'm guiding, because there's always a couple guys that love to do it, want to do it, but are that same passenger that I was a few years ago. So I'm going out there and kind of teaching them the tricks, and now that they've gone a couple times, they've kind of got the things figured out and how to catch fish, but there's always still drilling the holes, finding the spots, making sure the ice is good, all the important things that you really got to make sure you take care of before you get on the ice. And it's really cool to be the ringleader for that. As an angler, yes, I love living here because there's just so much access. Let's say catfish on the Red River, or going on Lake Winnipeg and catching walleyes, or a couple years back as a team building experience, we all went walleye fishing on the river for sauger. We caught a bunch of sauger, and having options like that you don't get that everywhere, and it's really cool. And then once we bring the team into those experiences as well, and then you can connect on that, that's something very unique to Winnipeg. So when I get here, it's usually the end of fishing season for me. And I've practiced hockey all summer long. I've ramped it up near the end of the summer. And when I get here and it's still warm out and it's still nice, for me, I would love to travel and fish in new bodies of water. And there's something about the lakes around here that are so unique that I've never seen before. So when I get that off day, and Brian, who's a phenomenal fisherman himself, I get a chance to go and learn with him, I have to jump on that. Not only do I love to catch bass, but I get to go experience a new body of water with an elite fisherman. I can't pass up on that knowledge. That's what drives me to the sport of fishing is learning, and every day is something different, and every bass is caught differently, and pattern differently. And there's so many little things that go into fishing that's not just, oh, I caught a fish, that was fun. There's almost the hunt of it. I found this fish, I tricked them to bite, I learned what they're doing, and then being able to travel and experience different patterns all around the world is really exciting. So I had to take that opportunity to get out there. So going out there, I was really expecting to just be targeting smallmouth. When Brian has said we can get on some largemouth as well, I was all ears, because largemouth are really fun as well. And sometimes you can do a pile of them, and that's just what we did.
Fun, eh?
What a great feeling that is. All right, take it easy. The water's kind of warm, not gonna lie.
Have to get a landing lesson from your brother?
I don't know why I'm taking so calm on it.
That's a big one.
There's a tank.
Is there a hockey equivalent to rod session?
Ooh. You know what? Gloves. I have glove and blockers. I have so many of them from my 2 awards. No, it's just like floating around. I got a couple in my garage, a couple in my basement. I got some from my All-Star game. I really liked them, so I kept them. Every time I won the Vezina, I kept them. And then every summer, I was just bringing them back and just leaving them just to clear up some space in my truck. And then I realized, oh man, I have way too many of these.
How many guys can say it every time I won the Vezina?
Not many.
That was a very casual statement.
A casual plug. Growing up, it was always plan A for me. There was never plan B. My goal was always to be the best in the world. And I wasn't rushing that process. For me, that's just what I wanted to do. I wanted to play in the NHL, and I wanted to be the best in the world. That being said, now I'm sitting in this chair, potentially winning a third is beyond my wildest dreams. I'm just looking forward to that one and being in the conversation. And I think that's what I enjoy so much. Sitting in the scenario I am, is I have to prove it every single day. It's not a given, and anything can happen. There's no promises that I do win a third, but what I can do is I can go and prove it every single day to myself, and really that's the main reason I do it. I want to prove it to myself that I can be the best in the world and at least feel like the best in the world. And what's fun for me is trying to prove it every single day. For me, goaltending is so different than any other position in the game, and being just in the conversation is a huge honor. And I don't think anyone's going to play the game saying I'm going to win a heart. That's just something that's so, it's almost like the fairy tale dream. You have to set it or else you'll never achieve it. But having that come around, and now the talks about it is something that I haven't even wrapped my head around, and I kind of don't want to. I kind of just want to continue doing what I'm doing, and whatever happens, happens. Winning a cup is my last goal. The Canadian team hasn't won it in a long time, so being able to bring one to Winnipeg and seeing what it means to this community, and just watching playoffs, seeing the community come together, it's such a great feeling. And I've gotten a lot of questions about the whiteout, and it's really hard to put into words because it's a feeling. And when you step on that ice and the whole crowd is just roaring, we have an absurdly loud crowd, and it's awesome. They're super passionate fans, and not only passionate fans, but smart fans. They know when to cheer and what's important in a hockey game. Even those little moments, it makes a huge difference. It builds so much momentum. And when you're out there, you get the shivers down your spine, you get the butterflies, all those good feelings that any team could say, especially during playoff time. But when you see that white out and that community's come together, and the rage that this city brings together, you just know you're going in with a slight advantage. So to be able to bring them a cup would be not only my biggest dream, but probably giving that dream to the city. And I'm sure there's a lot of fans that also share that dream, that they would love to be part of that. And there's so many things that go along with that. It would mean a ton for me and a ton for the city, but I think the process is so much more important than just being able to say, oh yeah, we raised the cup. Well, the process of bringing the city together and giving our best foot forward every single day, that's the stuff that you remember. At the end of the day, it's the end goal, but the process, you can't overlook the process.